Welcome to this video and my channel. My name is Heather. I am the owner and creator here at Wicked Whiskey Designs, and today it is all about this banger of a freaking neon Halloween tumbler. Super sparkly, spangly, all the neon. This is a super easy cup to do. When I say this is easy, I mean literally bippity boppity boo and you're done. It is looks extremely impressive, but to be honest, this is a very simple cup to make, and it's perfect, especially if you are new to tumblers and you are just trying to do like a very fun, exciting cup for Halloween. This is your cup. This is the one you want to do. If you're new to the channel, please consider liking and subscribing. I would like to say this is a brand new channel, but to be perfectly honest, like, we've been here a minute. My schedule does get a little wonky sometimes, so you definitely want to subscribe, and that way you're notified of whenever that video does drop. Usually Saturdays, sometimes Sundays. It's football season. Sometimes it gets moved over to Sunday, but if you're subscribed, you definitely know when those videos are hitting. Now, everything that I use to make this cup is linked down below. So any particular colors, if you want to do this exact same thing that I did with the exact glitters, everything is linked down below. And there's also a coupon code or two down there to hopefully save you a little bit of money. And if you have not watched any of my videos before, let me explain the end of the video. The end is the tips and tricks section. That's where I share with you all of the tips and tricks that I've learned along the way so that you can make a cup like this as perfect and as easy as possible with no headaches and no mistakes. That pretty much takes care of this intro. I'm gonna go ahead and get started, show you everything you need to make this cup. Let's go have some fun. Hey guys, what's up? What are we doing today? Okay, so we are doing, before anyone gets mad at me, because I know there's going to be at least one person and be like, why are we doing another neon cup? You've done a million neon cups. Not wrong. However, this particular cup, it's more about the process, it's more about the journey than it is the colors. This just happens to be a neon Halloween cup that I've had in my store for a really long time. I've had it, it's one of my favorites. To be perfectly honest, it's always sold really well. So I've kept it in the store. It's one of my, like I said, it's one of my favorites, and apparently it's a lot of other people's favorites. This cup that we're doing today is actually for a customer. As many of you know, I've closed down the store to orders, so I'm finishing up the last, bunch of orders that have already been placed, and this was in there, and I was like, this could be my last one ever. We have to do a tutorial, so okay. Again, it's not so much about the neon colors, although let me tell you, the black aesthetics, the black graphics bang against neon. Okay, that's just a given fact. Can you do this cup darker in different colors? Absolutely, 1000%. I actually have done it in darker colors. The only thing you got to keep in mind with this, because this is basically a glittered cup, and then you have, for what we're doing, black haunted house, black bats, black this, black that. That black stands out really, really nice against the neon glitter. If you're going to change up the colors and do more of, like, say, a traditional Halloween vibe to it, keep that in mind. Your black has to stand out, or else you're basically just kind of, it's one great big, beautifully glittered, perfect cup of nothing. So you want those graphics to stand out. If you're using black graphics, keep that in mind so that when you are choosing your glitter colors, if you are doing traditional oranges, greens, purples, that you're not going super dark, because all of your black images are not going to pop against that. So just kind of keep that in mind, okay? For the sake of this video, we're going neon. Is it traditional Halloween colors? Absolutely not. Are you seeing more neon Halloween stuff this year? You are, aren't you? Yep. So that's what we're doing today. To start with, basically the rundown on this cup is this. We are going to spray paint a neon ombre, basically. We are going to glitter that ombre. We're going to run it under epoxy. I would say probably once. We're going to mostly use fine glitter, so we really don't need it to be perfectly smooth and, perfect by the time we add the black graphics. Why? Because as we all know, and I've said 1,000 times, black hides all mistakes and everything that you don't want to see. So even if that glitter is not 100% smooth, and let's be honest, we're probably going to do 2 runs of epoxy on it, not just 1. It doesn't need to be perfect though. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and put those black graphics on. We're going to go ahead and spray paint the bottom, and then we're going to finish it out. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now, as I'm sitting here saying all this, the one thing I did think about was this. The graphics that I use on this cup, I have pieced this together over the years. Like, I couldn't even be, hi, here's the link for this entire set. Here's this one thing that I found on Etsy. Because I like the house from one set. I like the tree from another. I, stole tombstones from another, one that I bought. So what I'm probably going to do, so that you can have all of this entire design if you want it, I'm probably going to do a Dropbox link, and it would just be like, here's the Mod Podge of images I used. So note to self, Google how to Dropbox link. I'll be doing that for you. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with a real easy ombre, okay? And then we're going to glitter that, epoxy it, and then we're going to, keep moving on from there. So let's go get started. Okay, so on this cup, I start at the top in kind of like a dark indigo, like a dark purpley blue, okay? Goes down into a neon pink, neon orange, neon yellow, neon green. Here's the kicker on the green though, okay? The bottom of this cup when it's completed is black. So you don't have to, you can. Lord, it's probably better if you do. Take the green all the way down to the bottom. You don't have to, and I may or may not do that. We'll see how I do. The reason I say that is this. Over the years, I have done it where I'm like, oh, I know that, I only have to go down this far with the green. And then I do that, and then I'm not paying attention, and I put my house on top of the, where it needs to go. And it has like a winding road, all right, that's supposed to be like that green glitter. I can't tell you how many times I've miscalculated that, and then I put it down, and I'm like, oh, we were on stainless. Not good. So keep that in mind, but be smarter than me and just kind of take your spray paint all the way down to the bottom. But that's the colors that we're going to go with. Let's go ahead and get started, and we'll kind of, like I said, we'll move on from there.
Since the glitter we are using is translucent, I'm doing my best to do a really nice ombre with no runs or no janky transitions. Just going to take your time. Be sure you're going for full coverage on your spray paint, and just make sure that you have your entire cup covered.
Okay, I was good. I went all the way down to the bottom. You'll see I didn't bother spray painting the very base. I don't need to. This whole bottom section is going to be black spray paint anyway, so there's no reason to spray paint it green and or glitter it. We're going to go ahead and let this dry. We're going to go ahead and get glitter on it, and we'll get it to epoxy.
Okay, so I wasn't going to actually talk through this part. I was going to fast forward it so you didn't have to take all day watching this, but there's a couple things that I feel like we need to talk about. So here we go. Number one, I'm going to do this. When I come back up, I'm going to do a transition color between the hot pink and the indigo. Why didn't I do it on the first pass? Because I don't really want it, how do I say this? I don't really want it to be seen or noticed. I just want a real nice flow. And to me, if I add that transition color on both passes, it becomes its own little entity. So I just kind of use it on the end. Another thing is this. I am using the Tarte line for the most part from IPP. Absolutely gorgeous. You want to go high and you want to scatter it. You want these colors to really blend nicely. So again, like any other project, that first pass of glitter always kind of looks like trash. That's okay. You know, like I said, it's going to be beautiful by the time that second pass is done. And then also keep in mind, like, you're absolutely able to switch out colors. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to go darker, go darker. Just, like I said, be really mindful of your black images. If you're keeping them black, if you're changing them to a different color, it's a whole other conversation. And probably the most important thing I can advise, hold on. I was sitting there oh shit. I was doing this and I was like, there was something else I wanted to say. All right. Obviously, we're starting with a very dark color. We're moving down. Do not sacrifice your pink, okay, for the sake of your indigo. What does that mean? When you add your indigo, okay, and you bang it off, all right, you're going to obviously, you know, move your glitter to the shaker. You're going to go on with your pink. You're going to go on with your orange, your yellow, your green. These are all light. These are light colors compared to this. Keep in mind, moving forward, after you add that indigo and shake it off, do not bang the heck out of these colors, okay? What does that mean? When you add your pink and you're, you know, shaking it off, if you're like me, you're an aggressive, you know, you bang that stick so that all of your excess glitter comes off. If you do that, if you bang your stick very aggressively from there on out, your indigo inevitably will also fall down into your pink, your yellow, your orange, your green. Not on here, on here. And then you have all this excess pink and beautiful yellow glitter with indigo spots, indigo glitter in it, and it's trash. So then you're like, well, what do I do? Do I add it back to the bottle? Do I throw it out? You know what I mean? Don't do that. When you shake off, when you bang off your indigo there, go heavy, okay? And then with every color later that you're shaking off, let's be honest, you're not saving half a bottle of glitter. You know what I mean? You're not shaking an excess of half a bottle of glitter off this cup. So just kind of bop it really easy. If a little bit of indigo gets in it, that's one thing. But if you're really aggressively shaking, you know, banging your glitter off of this cup, you're going to ruin your piles of glitter. And if you're like me, you're not going to see them until you add it actually into your glitter bottle. So just bang this part very lightly. You're not saving that much extra glitter. Okay. So just be gentle with that. I am going to go ahead and get another run of spray adhesive on here and we're going to finish it up. Okay, so now if I glitter down a cup, when I do a second pass, I glitter down a cup as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this indigo again. Now, I know that I'm going to transition this area right here. So when I'm adding my glitter, I'm not trying to bring that indigo heavy all the way up to that section, all right? I'm going to, you know, here, but then I'm going to put another color right here. So just kind of be mindful of that. Probably helpful to keep this on. Can you see me? Now this, yeah, bang the hell out of that. Get every little bit of extra indigo off. Also, even when using parchment, glitter sticks. Now, I am now going to go onto the pink. I am not going all the way up, okay? I'm going to go ahead and just kind of like right around here so that transition color can just kind of transition. Now, will we have to do another little zhuzh of spray adhesive right here? Maybe. But like I said, it's just one of those things that just kind of go light and tilt your cup so it kind of gets down into that orange a little bit too. Now, lightly get the excess pink off. And if you look, there's very minimal indigo in my pink. Okay. If you start banging the hell out of that, you're going to have way more indigo in that pink than you want. Now you grab your orange, same thing, high, raise it up high, at an angle, get that orange down in lightly into the yellow, into the pink, so that it can do its magic. That's what ombres are, magical. Oops. Same with the yellow. Yellow I go pretty heavy with because yellow seems to always need to be a little heavier. Again, lightly tapping. I cannot stress that enough. And last but not least, and that's green. And lightly tap. Now, the color I'm going to use for the transition is called Electric Grape. It's also part of the Tarte line with IPP. I am going to add a little, we're going to see if it is, if I left enough space in between the two colors to where it just blends perfectly. I'm going to say probably not. It's probably going to need a little pass of spray adhesive, but we'll at least do this. We'll at least get a little bit on there. Okay, and you see how it just it kind of gives you that little fade a little bit versus really dark indigo to neon pink. Now I want just a little bit more, so I'm going to go hit this little area with a little bit of spray adhesive, and we're going to do one little more. We're going to do one more light pass of the Electric Grape, and then that's it. And I'm going very light. I'm going up into the indigo, very lightly down into the pink, just enough to where you got just a tiny little fade going on there. Okay. All right. Now we're going to go ahead, hit this with spray sealer, seal this all in, and then we're going to go ahead and get it on the spinner and get some epoxy on it. Now, I epoxy very lightly with my fingertips here. I do not sit there and go too crazy. I'm not trying to go super hard to where I'm moving my glitter all over the place. Spray sealer is a wonderful thing, but it's not a miracle worker. And you can definitely move your glitter around. I do not need to epoxy the bottom. I do it anyway. Okay, now I noticed one thing here, right there. See right there? The way that the cup was on my stick, the sticks are old, obviously well used. Something must have been blocking the glitter. So what I will do is after this run of epoxy, when this cures, I will go and add just a little bit of extra glitter right there so that on the next run it's taken care of. Why don't I add it right now while there is epoxy and just epoxy method, that little section? Number one, I hate epoxy method. Number two, it's going to look different. It's going to spread out and be flat. And granted, it's a tiny little area, but I'm going to see it and I don't like that. So I'm going to let this just kind of do its thing and then I'll fix it before the next run of epoxy. Okay guys, so I have one layer of epoxy on this cup. I didn't do two. Honestly, when you're doing cups like this that you know you're going to do multiple layers, you want to do thin layers and do as little layers as possible. Could I have done 2 layers with this? Yeah, honestly. But I'm also thinking ahead, and I'm thinking about the fact that I know every single time there's always one little boinky that boinks up no matter how hard I press the vinyl onto the cup, and it's going to need another run of epoxy anyway. Not to mention that I also have a saying on here. The customer wanted a very specific saying, so I'm putting that on the cup for her, and it's an offset, which means that vinyl's going to be just a little bit thicker, and I'm using this very cool orange color shift. Again, a little bit even thicker vinyl than normal. So I know all of these little elements are going to require an extra run of epoxy anyway, so I'm minimizing my base epoxy layers because I don't need it to be perfect. We're adding black, and anything orange I'm adding
you know, with a black backer. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's not going to show anything. So I am at this point going to go ahead, start adding my decals and fix that little spot at the top that doesn't have enough glitter. And then we're going to send it to epoxy, and then probably, obviously, a second run after that. Let's talk real quick about this though. Keep in mind when you are doing cups like this, this particular style is done with a black spray paint base. Okay, when I say base, I mean like this little section right here. Not all black spray paints are the same, okay? I've made this mistake. I normally use Rust-Oleum gloss for this. I have, you know, gone and they didn't have gloss, and I got like black flat, and I'm like, well, it's the same thing. No, it's not. Gloss is the darkest black spray paint commercially found, like on your Walmart shelf. There is a spray paint, I believe it's a spray paint. It's like midnight tar, black as my little pity pat heart, black. And it's expensive and it's magical in all ways, but this girl doesn't have it. This girl has, you know, Rust-Oleum gloss from Walmart. So this is honestly the best paint to use if you're trying to match black vinyl. If you go with the flat, it's going to still match. Like, you're still going to be like black on black, and nobody's probably going to notice, but you're going to notice. You're going to be like, that black isn't the right black. It doesn't match exactly. Gloss. It can be gloss. It can be ultra gloss. Just go somewhere in the gloss family. Okay. So be sure to go ahead and do that versus grabbing flat. Okay. So we're going to go ahead, start adding our decals, and then we're going to move on.
Okay. So now normally I start with the castle since it's the biggest graphic on here, and I see my little spot here that I have to fix. I also know that I am going to be adding like the saying on one side, the moon on the other. So I'm actually going to pivot this a little bit so that when I put the castle here and the words here, when I go back and glitter that little spot that needs a little bit of extra glitter, it's not going to be right over where the orange holographic vinyl is going to be. What I normally do is try to even up the bottom and the bottom. Honestly, it doesn't really matter, as all of this is going to go ahead and get spray painted in, but the number one thing is try to keep your castle going as straight upwards as you can get it. I normally do not bring this all the way down. I normally stop the castle somewhere in this wheelhouse, and that way you got a little bit extra black at the bottom. So just kind of judge it as you can, and then just get that bad boy on there. And then I will take this part. Now watch when you're pulling up your transfer tape. It's got little towers and such, so you want to make sure you're not ripping those up. But as we all know, black is the great forgiver. So even if you do, you can just add it back on and nobody's going to ever notice. Oops, just like that. These little boinkies, that's what I said. Every single cup I've ever done with these always need a second coat of epoxy. So next I add my tree. And this is just one of those things you don't have to go in this order. This is just how my brain does it. So just, you know, feel free to off-road as you see necessary. So pivot it a little bit. I just kind of overlap the tree at the bottom. Again, there's no right or wrong. Even got a bat on that one. Okay. Now, this tree with all of its little spindly little branches here is what jams me up. This is every single time what will inevitably rip and tear, to where I either rip it off or just add it back on separate, or this is the reason why I end up having to do an additional run of epoxy, because one of these things just kind of boinks up and breaks through, causing drama. Alright, so next we're going to pivot just a little bit. And now at this point you can kind of see we're kind of in a more or less a line. It doesn't have to be perfect, and I'll show you how we're going to fix that. But go ahead and add, I don't know if that's straight or not, to be honest with you. straight-ish. And if you see here, where's my camera? Like right there, see how that buckled? Okay, just grab your craft knife. You can do one of two things. Since it's black, you can literally slice it and press it down and make it flat, or you can sit there and just take your craft knife, go up under gently, and pull that up, and then just even it out. You can't do that with all colors and all vinyls, but black you definitely can. Now, for my pumpkins, I thought we'd get a little fancy on the pumpkins this time. Normally I don't do this, but this is probably the last cup, the last time I'm ever going to do this cup. I thought we'd make it a little special. So I'm going to go ahead and get my pumpkin. I also did a backer out of the orange, which basically I just duplicated this in my design space. And then on the duplicated graphic, I just removed the inside part where, you know, the eyes and teeth and whatnot, so that I can put this on top. And now he's a little swanky. So I'm going to look and see where I have more real estate. I think this one. All right, so I've got this coming down here, this stopping here, all sorts of nothing here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my pumpkin in this area right here, because we're going to fill this in with black paint pen. Okay, so I'm going to balance him like right about there. And then I have another one I'm going to go right there on. Because Halloween is just when you need to be as extra as you possibly can. Come on. Stop being difficult. All right, same thing. Empty space, we're going to fill that in with paint pen. We're going to put him, we're going to float him up in this area to where he is right about even with where that space is missing. Okay, and we're going to fix them in a minute. Now, I have... Okay. I really pet peeve when this happens with your transfer tape. Just saying. Matter of fact, bye-bye. Is that wasteful? Yes. Am I going to lose any sleep over it? That would be negative. All right. I say that because I have a whole brand new roll of transfer tape. If I was at the end, trust me, I wouldn't be doing that. Because we all know how valuable and how sad and tragic it is when you're running out of transfer tape. It's always when you need it, more than ever. This is such a pretty font, but let me tell you what a pain in the booty it is. And before I forget, this font is called, I think, Beauty Lava. And like I said, super pretty, but goodness gracious, I am never a fan of wispy fonts like that. I think they're beautiful, but to work with, they can be somewhat problematic at times. All right, so we're gonna do something with that too. Okay. Oh, we got bats on that one too. Okay. So I am going to add the saying right about here. Now, I know that I only have one run of epoxy on here. I'm okay with that, but at the same time, we also, I just want to do a very light sand. Just to, and not put your sanding block box down on that. And then over, trying to do this, bear with me here. Trying to do this around a camera sometimes can be just a little bit problematic. So I'm trying to line up the words with the top. And I'm just going to do like a real light press, and I'm going to look at it straightways. And I think it's a little crooked. I think that might be okay. Come on, let's go. Let go. Lola, what are you doing? And then just pull very lightly and very gently so you're not ripping anything up. If it's crooked, we'll fix it. Now, this holographic vinyl sometimes will have a tendency to bubble. So what I will do, if that does happen, is add a little bat on the bubble part. We'll see, again, very light sand. Couple little bubbles. That's all right. I think I have a big bat here somewhere. Hold on. I do. When in doubt. Oops, come here. When in doubt, camouflage. All right. And now we're going to add the rest of our bats. Now we're going to add the rest of our bats. Now I also have, okay, so this little, Okay, now, black paint pen. Your best friend when working with black. Hold on. Okay, now do not make the mistake that I did in the beginning and grab a black Sharpie and think it's going to work. It's not going to work. Black Sharpie, when you hold it in the light, is going to start flashing, I think, red, and not in a good way. So definitely grab an actual black paint pen, and then what you're going to do is just We want it to touch, probably. There we go. Okay. And then do the same. Now be careful because that's wet. So do not go and start like smearing that all over the place. I say that from experience. Okay. There is that. Now, we are going to go ahead, let this dry for like, I don't know, 5 minutes. This paint pen doesn't need a lot of time to dry. And then what we're going to do is spray paint the bottom, okay? And then we're going to get it on epoxy. Okay, so I fixed the little glitter spot. We have everything on here. Be sure you press down, just as a habit. All these little fonts that have really little wispy points, they have a really bad habit of sticking up when they least expect it. Now, what we're gonna do is this. I'm gonna grab a garage rag. Don't be judgy, okay? Most of you understand how my garage is at this point. It's a mess. But I'm gonna grab a garage rag, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna gently wrap it right underneath where the green meets the black. And then we're gonna spray paint this part, but we're gonna protect this part because the rag is gonna go ahead and cover up all of our graphics. That's what we're gonna go do. Garage rag. Wrap this around so that it's even-ish and that it covers that. Okay, so all the way around. And then we're going to take our gloss, black spray paint. We're also going to get paint on our hands, so wear a glove, unless you're like me and that's just how you live. But we're going to spray paint this and the bottom. Okay, let's go do that. Okay, now we are going to very gently remove. Do not let this go, do not like pull this way so it's up into your paint. Just very gently pull it away. Set it off to the side. Now, as you can see, my line where between the glitter and the vinyl is all completely covered in paint. Okay, now the thing that we need to watch is this. Ooh,
Ooh, getting that close to the camera. The thing we need to watch is this. You're going to sit there and you're going to put it upside down and you're going to let it dry. Okay. Do not do what I've done where you're like, okie dokie, let's get going. And you put it on your spinner and you start epoxying. And then you realize that because you're going heavy with the spray paint so that you're covering everything, right? Then all of a sudden you realize that you have paint lines running up your cup or down your cup, however you want to look at it. Don't do that. If you do, you're going to be grabbing that black paint pen and making little trees out of them. Ask me how I know that. So what you are going to do is go and sit this upside down like this so it can dry. Before you send it to epoxy, take a good look at it. Make sure that you don't have any paint runs. If you do, grab your, like a paper towel with some acetone and just get it off. If it's tiny and it's not super thick paint, it's just running paint, you can grab your sanding block and just sand it off real quick if it's just something little. But yeah, definitely be mindful of that, because like I said, no joke, if that does happen, you're going to be sitting there, you already have epoxy on it, you're going to be going back making little trees. Trust me, I've done that more times than I can count. So like I said, just let it sit, let it dry, let it be happy, and then we're going to send it to epoxy. Sorry about the lighting. It's like midnight here right now, so the door is down, the lights are on. Sorry. I've got here about 30 mLs of epoxy. I have a little bit of diamond dust, to make it all spangly. Am I going to need the entire 30 mLs of epoxy? I don't know. We'll see. We have offsets, we got bats, we got trees, we got all sorts of things to try to even out. Knowing that I 99% chance need to do one more run of epoxy on here after this one. So we will play this part by ear. Where can I stand so that you're not completely in the shade? Let's try this. All right. Now, knowing that I have that one section up here where I had to fix the glitter and add some extra glitter, I am going to epoxy this part of the cup last. I am going to do all of this. See, I can already feel a boinky right there. I'm going to do all of this first. Yes, you can see all the bubbles under this light. That's awesome. By awesome, I mean not awesome. I'm going to go ahead and fill in as much. I can feel one. It's right there. Okay. We are going to fill in as much as we can. And then once I have all of this spread around down here on this part of the cup, then I will go ahead and add it to that very top lip where I know I have raw glitter so that I don't get purple in everything. What is that? Random? Probably off that rag. Okay. All right, now we are going to... I promise you that the bubbles aren't nearly as bad as they actually look. Out here under LED lights, what I have figured out is that these things are like magical and miserable at the same time. I have actually done cups, and out here, at night under this light, they looked horrible. I was like, I chose the wrong glitter. It's not matching. This is a nightmare. And I literally trashed cups. Okay, absolutely trashed them. And added glitter on top and all this crap because I thought I was fixing them. And all it was is how they were looking in this moment under the LED lights. So if you are like me and work in your garage and have LED lights, do not always believe them because they lie, especially when it's nighttime. Now, I see a mistake. Hold that thought. Coming around right there. See right there? That's where a little bit of paint, what did I say? You look at it and then you're like, oh, it's perfect. And then you put epoxy on it and all of a sudden you see all the mistakes every freaking time. So this little spot right there, we are going to fix that once this epoxy cures. And I can already look at the rim down here and see where it's all kind of bumpy from the raw glitter part. So I already know once this runs and it cures, we're going to sand it all down. Plus, like I said, my pumpkin has a little boinky too. God bless him. We're going to sand it down and add another run anyway.
What we're going to do before that next run of epoxy is we're going to take that handy dandy little black paint pen and we're going to fill that in and make that, you know, so nobody sees that it's a little oopsie. So that's where we are right now. We're going to let this run, and then when this is cured, we'll add another run of epoxy.
Hey guys, what's up? Shut up. How sparkly and bright and dark and all good things is this cup? I know, you know what? I'm not going to say I love this cup because I say it every week, but I do. I love this cup. This is super easy. Hopefully you can see in the video exactly how easy this is. Now, let's go over a couple of things real quick. Number one, can you change colors? Absolutely. I love the neon because that black absolutely bangs out against that neon. You know I've had some of my girls be like, we're doing neon again? Really? We don't really need to do neon. I know, but this is one that we're doing in neon. Okay, so listen, I love black and neon contrast. I just do. And this was a cup that I did in my store a long time ago. Like, I think this was probably like year 2. And it's just a fan favorite. Like, it's the cup that everyone seems to buy the most at Halloween time. So I thought it was a good time. We'll just go ahead and bang a tutorial out on this because, yeah, it's a great look. And it's really easy. And like I said in the beginning of the video, it's not so much about the colors. It's just about the technique. And adding the decals on and then spray painting the bottom, it is such... Oh my word, for somebody who cannot wrap vinyl around a cup continuously in one fell swoop of perfection, doing it this way saves me so many headaches. You know what I mean? Now, could you do this in a different color other than black? No, you really can't. The vinyl would always show. You'd be able to see the edges and all the things. But with black covers everything. So black you can do this with, and you will never see the vinyl where the vinyl ends and the paint begins. As long as you're using the right spray paint. And I know we touched on this in the video, but the Rust-Oleum Gloss is in my experience, the very best spray paint and the only spray paint that I've come across that will go ahead and absolutely melt perfectly in against that black vinyl. Rust-Oleum Flat, you can see a color difference. Is it something substantial to where, oh, I need to go spend another $6 on more spray paint that I'll never use? Do you need to do that? I would suggest it, but honestly, I think a lot of times we kind of have a tendency to get a little picky and we're like, oh, it's 99% perfect, but it's not 100. So now I'm unhappy. All right. At least I know I have a tendency to be that way. So do you need to spend the extra $6 on gloss spray paint? I'm going to say yes, but honestly, black is black. You know what I mean? You may be able to notice there's a difference. Probably nobody else in the world would, but you know, use that at your own discretion. When it comes to the neon paints, I love using Montana 94s, which is what the neon line for the spray paint is. I believe that if you are using something like neons or really anything, now you can certainly spray paint this white. You do not need to go out and spend, $50 on neon spray paint by any means. You can spray paint this white and then use your glitter on top and it's going to be beautiful. I like using the neon paints. This is probably the best line of neon paints that I've used, and I like using it simply because it does half the work for you. Now, the glitters that I use on this cup are pretty translucent, so using that spray paint to match the glitters gives you more bang for your buck as far as the neon, okay? But again, you don't have the spray paints already in your arsenal and you don't want to go spend that money to get them, don't worry about it. Use white spray paint as a backer, you're good to go. The decals I have pieced together from a variety of different SVG groups of decals over the years. So I don't have, oh, here is the one SVG, you know, group of decals that I bought for $3.99. Here's your one link. I don't have that because I literally pulled these from all sorts of different ones. I'm going to do a Dropbox link so that you can just go ahead and hit that. It's going to be free, of course, but that you can just go and grab the exact, you know, my exact setup. If you don't want to use that, don't feel like you have to. Go on Etsy, go on, you know, any of your design spaces or your, you know, where you get your files, and put together your own. You know, I did another one that was less castle and trees and more cemetery with tombstones and whatnot. There's so many. There's so many. So these are a lot of fun because you can totally personalize them in the design that you want to use. I'm going to include a link for this particular design, but just go ham and just go absolutely nuts and just have a lot of fun with it. Another thing is for like the little pumpkins here where I did, can you see? Where's my camera? So you can see, you know, I did the backer, I did the orange behind him. That would be awesome to do like for the castle, okay? Like if you had a different, like I don't know, neon green, I don't know, but do a vinyl backer so that all of these little negative spaces pop. That'd be a lot of fun too. So just little suggestions on that. And real quick about the glitter. Now, I used a dark indigo up here. These are all neon down here. About the little transition between the indigo and the neon pink. That is like putting black and white next to each other. You know what I mean? Like that is a hot pink translucent glitter versus a marginally, it's not a metallic. It's probably translucent. It's not as translucent. Next to a pretty solid dark indigo. I did not want to do indigo grape pink because then the grape becomes its own entity. And I didn't want that. Okay. So that's why I did indigo pink. And then on that final round, or, you know, once those two colors are established, did a real light scattering of the electric grape on top. That way, it's not three separate colors, it's two colors and a fade, if that makes sense. So if you are doing something similar where you have a dark and a much lighter, much brighter, you know, that's a real easy way to do a fade between the two without having to worry about throwing one more transition color into the mix. Just a little something there. As always, finished it out with diamond dust. As you can see, it makes everything super sparkly, super spangly without any kind of an iridescent color flash against the black. And one thing to keep in mind too, this edge here, we always have problems with this edge. And keep in mind, the only thing on that edge at this point is paint, okay? So when you go through, you've got glitter running up to the end, or even if you did glitter at the bottom of the cup, I did not. But once you sand that edge, you're running into where, and I know this happened on mine somewhere in here. Can you see? Can you see? Can we focus? Maybe right there. See right there? You can see a little bit of the green through there. When you finish this off and you're second to the last run of epoxy and you're sanding everything down, whether it needs to or not, if you're like me, you automatically sand that rim because there's only spray paint and like one run of epoxy on there. You are running the risk of basically, I don't want to say ripping up that edge, but sanding it to where you can now see underneath that little bit of green glitter or stainless or whatever that little rim of yours is. Don't worry about that. Grab your black paint pen again and just kind of rim that out. Or if you don't have a black paint pen and you're using, you can just go ahead and spray a little bit of your spray paint on a piece of paper, put a glove on, don't be like me. Put a little on your finger and just rim that out like that. Let that dry, run it back through under your epoxy. I usually just grab my paint pen and run it right there on that very edge that got a little crunchy, and then that just fixed the problem. Paint pens are a godsend like that, especially if they're black. I think that pretty much is everything. This is a super, super, super easy, super fun cup to do. And like I said, you can change out these graphics in any way you want. You can change your colors out. If you don't want to do the neon, let me say this, and I know I said this in the video. If you want to do more of a traditional Halloween colors, okay, like I'm looking behind me, oranges and purples and greens, oh my. You can. I've done it before. Just be really mindful of the decals, because these black decals against dark pumpkin orange, all right, they're not going to stand out as well. But you can also do a little bit of, you know, like down at the bottom, you know, start more, instead of like a harvest orange, do more of like a lighter pumpkin. You know what I mean? Like, just kind of play with your colors a little bit. Understand it's not going to be like as contrasty as this cup, but you can definitely use more traditional colors. Maybe just don't go on the darker side of pumpkin. Maybe go on the lighter side of pumpkin. Same with purples. You know, right now everybody's using like dark purples for Halloween. Maybe go more like a mid-grade purple. And the same with the green or any other colors that you're choosing to use. Just be mindful of that. You still want those decals to really stand out. That's the whole point of the cup, right? Okay. Now, completely non-cup related, okay? Kids. Okay. Can we see me? I'm a Flytrap girl. Anybody who's followed this channel for more than 20 seconds knows I am a Venus Flytrap girl, okay? Again, not cup related, but just too exciting not to share, okay? I have probably at this point, I just put another order in, probably like 160 Venus Flytraps, okay? If you are Halloween and or Flytrap inclined. What? My girl Brenda is watching this. Brenda, I went to Michael's. Look! Ah! And I shall call her Petunia. This is in the Halloween section. She was 60% off. Shut the front door. She should be, for as expensive as Michael's prices these things out. There's also like a 4-foot one. My husband's like, don't even freaking think about it. But if you are Halloween inclined, Michael's has like a 60% off sale right now. If you are Venus Flytrap inclined, I also got a rain barrel this morning. It's a good day to be Heather. So anyway, really excited. Can't not share. Sorry. Named her Petunia. She's going to be sitting in my cubicle. I sit at work with like one of my very best friends, and won't she be surprised? No, she actually won't. She won't be surprised at all, knowing she knows how I am. Anyway, again, if you're Halloween inclined, Michael's has a sale today. Michael's Arts and Crafts. So that pretty much wraps everything up. You know the drill. The links are down below. Some of them are Amazon affiliate links, which means I make a little bit of money, like a couple cents if you click on it. No harm, no foul if you don't. If you have any questions, reach out. I know this is like my second video back from my little hiatus. I still can't tell you how much I'm happy to be back, and how much you guys checked on me so much and reached out with so much love and so much good juju. And I gotta say again, I really do. I appreciate all of you. You guys are my people, and I love you all. And again, happy to be back. So anyway, I think next week we're doing a pirate ship. I say that because my husband's like, when am I getting my freaking pirate ship cup? Pretty sure that's going to be the next video. That'll be fun. And I think maybe we'll do another Halloween one because we are. And yeah, so that pretty much wraps it all up. You know the drill. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below in the comments, and I will get to them as quick as I can. And as always, I love you guys. I'll see you next week. Bye.